She crouched awkwardly and cursed whatever tech Arab had thought stirrups were better than a secondary seat. Estul strove to free a fresh Stormbolter magazine from the ammo rack inside the turret. She keyed the Vox mic again with her other hand. Ideas? Suggestions? We haven't been through everything we've been through only to die like this. She was surprised to hear Veryl's voice come through the Vox, weak but determined. Sir, I picked up a few things back on Cadia that might give Tread's machine spirit a boost. It's nothing sanctioned, just wire wife spells, sir, but it is heresy. Treve's voice was shrill. He sounded glad to have found someone to direct his frustrations at. Isaac, began Vero, sounding immeasurably exhausted. The driver overrode him. Pious men do not interfere in the forbidden mysteries of the machine. By such exchanges are man and engine alike tainted and heresy spawned. Dreg me, prayer book, now's not the time, yeah? Shalbun sounded ready to put her fist into Trevier's face. Estul sympathized. I will not, began the driver, but Estul barked over the top of him. Vero, you have my express permission to try whatever tricks you know. Vero was on his hands and knees, crawling to the power plant, each shuffle forward, sending pain pulsing through his shoulder. Behind him, faintly, he heard Vaslav yelling. He tuned it out. He had his orders. His vision grayed around the edges, then cleared again. Vero urged his limbs to move, determined to get the job done before he passed out. He reached into the rudimentary tool rack bolted to the hull next to the power plant and plucked out a socket blade. Hands shaking, he fitted its decouper around it, first one affixing bolt and then another, unscrewing them while muttering, Sacred machine, forgive my trespass. Sacred machine, forgive my trespass. Next, Vero set aside the inspection plate, thanking the God Emperor that Triv kept the tank's toolkit properly stocked. Mechanical repair was the sacred duty of the engine seer. Humble tank crews were permitted to perform only the most rudimentary of battlefield repairs, and then only in the direst of circumstances. Less pious drivers than Trev had quietly lost their tools over time rather than risk the temptation of tampering with sacred machineries while in combat. You're committing tech heresy right now, he muttered to himself. God Emperor, if you're watching, I pray you understand. Vero was faced with a nest of wires, a small gouge and two clear plexiglass switches. One lit red from behind, the other green. None of it meant a thing to him, but he remembered the wire wife spell well enough. He reversed his grip on the socket blade and jabbed its point into the palm of his faithful hand. By which, he hoped, the wire wives meant his right. Squeezing his palm, he let 3 fat drops of blood well onto the blade. One for the God Emperor, one for the Omnissiah, and the last for his heart's desire. The tank shuddered. Something went bang outside, close enough to be heard through the hall. The commander's bolter thumped. Vero took a steadying breath and turned his attention to the wires packing the small compartment. Green is poison's bane, the machine to keep pure, he recited to himself. Gray, the wire forbidden, touch not lest darkness fall. Blue, the saint's wire, not for mortal hand. Red, the heart's fire, thirsting for libation. That's it, right? Before he could second guess his way to paralysis, Vero leaned in and reverently applied his blood to the red wire, taking care not to let it splash the other. Last must you toll the switching bell, that the machine spirit can know of your offering and accept it, he muttered. Sinister the switch, twice to toll, first from wrath to quiescence, then again from quiescence to wrath, and sinister means left, I think. Fighting the tremors in his hand, Vero reached in, pressed his finger on the red-lit switch, and flicked it to quiescence while chanting, O machine spirit, in the Omnissiah's holy name, accept the offering of my humble heart, and make my strength your own. With his first flick, he heard the power plant's rumble drop off a notch. Fear gripped him that he had angered it with his unworthy offering, but he persisted, flicking the switch again from quiescence to wrath and repeating his prayer. Green light bloomed behind the switch and the power plant snarled. Steel threads surged forward, straining as though at the leash, then settled back onto its springs with a heavy clang. The light behind the switch had turned red again. Vero felt encouraged. Thread wasn't free, but surely that had worked. He glanced over his shoulder to see Chalibor and Mortis both staring at him in amazement. Chalibor made a frantic "keep going" gesture before turning back to her gun. Head swimming from the power plant's fumes, Vero pierced his palm again. Again, he dripped blood onto the socket blade, causing a particularly violent graft pulse threatened to spill him onto his side. "Emperor, please," he croaked, flinching as impact hit the hull inches from his head. Again the libation, again the prayer. First one flick, then the second. This time the green light behind the switch burned furiously bright. He couldn't help but hear the power plants bellow as one of triumph as steel tread heaved its bulk from the mire. Vero fell back, socket blade spilling from his hand, head spinning. He saw Chalibor and Mortis whooping and grinning at him, though he couldn't hear them over the renewed roar of the power plant. He managed to return a weak smile. Vero patted the power plant's housing, leaving a smear of blood from his pierced palm. "Thank you, Tread," he breathed.